Engineering days, hostel lives are about 12 to 14 hours of sleep every day. Hostel life in management institute is about 4 to 5 hours of sleep every day. So it was very, very interesting in what he was saying. He was into finance and consulting at that point in time. Then I got to understand, okay, there are different things. A lot of my interest lying with the marketing folks on the floor. I worked very closely with the category teams of Bonvita and Tank, and obviously Mondelez is known for its marketing, and the folks over there on the floor are like absolute genius.
Hey there, welcome to Marketing Mavericks with IndieFolio. Today we have Tippu Sultan with us, who's the head of e-commerce and digital media at Atomberg. Tippu's had a very unconventional career. He started doing BTech, then manufacturing, then did an MBA, then did supply chain, sales, and then moved into marketing. So I'm very excited to cover transitioning from one role to the other with him. We'll discuss the future of consumer durables and also talk about Atomberg's phenomenal growth. Thanks a lot for your time, Tippu, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Kavan. It's great to be here.
I'm super excited to have a chat with you. I think Atomberg's been covered quite a few times in the last few months, and people are really praising its growth strategy. I think creating a differentiation in a category like fans and kind of growing that is pretty intriguing. But before we get into all of that, I wanted to talk to you about your interest with marketing, right? If I'm not wrong, you did BTech. So I don't think this was something you always wanted to do. So when is it that you realize that this is a space you want to build your career in?
So you're absolutely right. Not everyone, comes into the world and thinks that I'm going to be a marketer, and it's a journey most marketers take. Yes, I did my BTech, and I was working in an aluminum smelter as my first job between 2008 to 10. And my job was predominantly to ensure that the production targets for aluminum is met for the particular shift. And it was a very hardcore on the job, on the floor kind of a job where the ambient temperature is about 55 degrees centigrade. There's a lot of people working on it, a lot of machines, furnaces, etc. The furnace temperature would be about 950 or degrees centigrade. It's a very cruel job to start with, and but that was my introduction into any kind of a job, into an industry. That was ripping your hearts apart. You're sweating through the day, but I learned a lot of my man management and optimization of resources over there. Couple of years then I felt that this job is not for me. Almost every engineer feels that, right? Okay, then what do I do next? Then one of my cousins had gone to one of the premium institutes in the country, and we were just chit chatting, saying that how's life at Ahmedabad, and then he introduced me to saying that there's a different life out there, and which is very. He was also an engineer, and he worked in a software company, but he had a very big influence with the stories of how the hostel life is. Which was very different from the hostel life from your engineering days. Engineering days, hostel lives are about 12 to 14 hours of sleep every day. Hostel life in management institute is about 4 to 5 hours of sleep every day. So it was very, very interesting in what he was saying. He was into finance and consulting at that point in time. Then I got to understand, okay, there are different things, right? Say operations, finance, consulting, marketing. For the first time, I was introduced to saying sales and marketing as a field in itself. And then went to IIT Bombay School of Management for my um, MBA. And the first semester or whatever, first term in ITs, we have like 4 terms in a year. So the first term was had a lot of marketing, and I was introduced to marketing by my professor Sarthi Karlro, and it opened a world of ideas to me, saying that this is so much interesting. And then I kind of connected the dots in a retrospective way. A couple of friends from school, we used to shoot videos, we used to write a few things and see if we can make an ad out of it. And we even won uh, an award where a Mofilm award, where one of our ads for Nokia was screened at the Cannes Festival in 2010. But I didn't know that this was marketing. This was part of marketing, or even I didn't realize what we were doing at that point in time. We would just take our cell phone camera, shoot something, write something, dub it out, and go ahead and submit for various competitions. And then I was just tying the knot, saying that okay, probably we are moving somewhere over here, and then the realization hit, saying okay, there's summers, you got to pick your company, sit for the interview. Unfortunately, at IIT, a lot of companies were coming only for supply chain profiles, and uh, unfortunately for me, I had an operations background as well. I was working in manufacturing sector, so most of the companies would shortlist my CV because I was having a good supply chain fitment at that point in time. And because marketing was one of the core subjects that we were all interested in, before the interview, we were all told, saying that don't talk about marketing, talk about as much as supply chain as possible so that you get into that company. So Mondelez was the first, or Cadbury at that point in time was the first company that I attended, and I was very conscious. This was at about 6:30 in the morning, and very conscious of the fact that I shouldn't talk anything about marketing. So one of the questions was, "What's your favorite subject?" And the guy who went ahead of me in the interview had said marketing, and he got rejected. And because he got rejected, he told me, saying that I don't say marketing, Tippu. I said organization behavior, because we didn't have an operations subject at that point in time. Then they asked me about, like, what do you feel about organization behavior, and I gave some random answer with respect to team management and how Arsene Wenger and Arsenal did inside fights within the team so that they bond together and things like that. Got into Cadbury for my internship, finished my internship, joined the company in about 2013. And then there were 26 of us who joined as management trainees, and then there were like five people in supply chain, 10 people and sorry, 13 people in sales and marketing and finance. And then it realized, okay, there are different functions, and everyone starts with sales, and these guys started with sales. I started with supply chain at that point in time. I did one stint in manufacturing projects. The other stint was in supply planning for Bonvita and Tang. But I somehow felt a lot of my interest lying with the marketing folks on the floor. I worked very closely with the category teams of Bonvita and Tang, and obviously Mondelez is known for its marketing, and the folks over there on the floor are like absolute genius with respect. You are rubbing shoulders with people who have done, generational worth of marketing ideas, with the taglines that anyone can remember, right? Kuch meeta ho jaye was just happening when I was around there. But the iconic ad of the cricketer hitting a six, and it's his girlfriend coming in and dancing. So those folks were there, and it was always, every day was fun learning session with these. I hung out a lot with the marketing folks than with the other people in the organization. Or every day it was like a new thing that I would learn with them, sitting with them, how they are positioning Bonvita, how they are positioning Tank, how my work kind of influences a lot of things downstream with respect to distribution and marketing. And I've got the great mentors whom I'm in touch with till today, saying that, Tippu, what are you doing in supply chain? You are someone who has a clear marketing bent of mind, and you should switch to sales at some point in time. And then since Mondelez being a very open organization, although I was a supply chain professional at that point in time, they gave me an opportunity to at least hone my skills in sales. So I moved in as an senior area sales manager for Tamil Nadu and Kerala, and that was a different world altogether. And that's when I would say, although my sales journey had started then, I would say my marketing journey actually started at that point in time. So this was my introduction to sales and marketing at that point in time. It took me a good 2.5 3 years to start it. But I feel it was worth the every single effort that I put in.
Incredible, I think from doing BTech engineering to kind of going into supply chain, then sales, and then marketing, it's been a pretty long road to kind of select this particular function. A lot of young marketers, or at least young people, are so conscious about what their first few stints are or what they really like, and this ikigai is a concept which they really want to kind of hone. But at the core, often young people don't know what they want, what they're good at, and a lot of other things around that. So now that you've kind of done this, can you kind of unpack who do you think marketing is for? Because I'll tell you why I'm asking you. Because in today in today's world, like, marketing's gone from people thinking it's a creative job to it being a very data driven strategic job, right? There's a lot of martech conversations happening. And then at the same point in time, people also realize that being creative today is actually a clutter breaking strategy. So people are very confused, that who should I be? If I'm analytical, should I go into marketing? Or if I'm a creative, should I go into marketing? Since you've done the entire stint, if you could kind of give your perspective, that will be incredible to hear.
See, when you break down to the bare essentials, what is marketing? Marketing is someone has a need and they are going to want something to satisfy that need, right? And as a marketer, how is your product or brand uh, available for that particular person wherever they are searching for, and is able to satisfy that need with whatever they are going to part with? When I say part with, what is the value that they are going to derive? For example, I'm hungry, I'm near a store, I'll go check if there's anything that will quickly satiate my hunger. It can be a veg patties, it can be a biscuit, bar of chocolate, it can be a juice, it can be a carbonated drink. So I have more options. Now, as a marketer, what should I be doing? I should be available at that particular store. Or if I'm searching on Blinkit or Zepto, I should be available at that point in time, whatever catches my eye and whichever I feel that I'll get the best value out from. So when it is broken down to this bare essentials, are you a data guy? Are you a creative guy? Everything comes into play here. It is not one devoid of the other. It is about how you hone these skills in tandem with each other, by experimenting, by saying that no one is good at what they are doing. Um, right from the start, right? They'll have to go through that journey. they'll have to they'll have to try different things out. They'll have to be consistent with the efforts, and then they become good over a period of time. So it really does not matter where you start with. If I go back really into my life, I started with saying that one of my friend's father was working in JWT as a animator. He used to, at that point in time, this was like 25, 30 years back. On Saturdays, me and my friend, we used to go hang out because behind the JWT office in Chennai, there used to be a huge ground. So we used to play cricket over there. So uncle used to animate, or on the canvas he used to do the artwork. I didn't realize what JW did. I didn't even know the company's name. I just knew because we used to get pencils saying that J. Walter Thompson, a white color beautiful pencil. That's when I realized, okay, this was an ad agency and I didn't know anything. But now when I connect back and say that, that was the introduction over there, saying that uh, this is how people work. They are painters at heart, but they are working in an ad agency, and the throughput that you see it in the newspapers at that point in time, or in the hoardings at that point in time. Uh, but are they any less of a marketeer than what today's data-driven uh, pe- people saying that, oh, how my what's my CTRs, what my ACOS? That's also part of marketing. That's what the marketing has evolved into. But creatives definitely plays a lot of role in this. So when if I have to break it down, I'll take a digital example to break this down. Right. Suppose say you're in need of a fan, uh, and what is the reason why someone would buy a fan, whether they are moving into a new house, or a fan has conked off, and the replacement cost is more than what they can afford at that point in time, and they think that I might as well go for a new fan, or they are renovating their house and things of that sort. So a digital person would go on Google or on Amazon or Flipkart and search like fans for ceiling, right? At that point in time, I should be, as a I'm not a person who's a market leader in fans, but I understand digital more than anyone else in the fans industry. At that point in time, I am in front of, when I say Atomberg is there in front of people. You search for ceiling fans for homes, Atomberg is the first sponsored link, whether it's on Google, whether it's on Amazon or Flipkart. And then I would have to present my product in such a way that they are ready to click. They are enticed to click, whether that imagery is creative, right? And once they get into the page, the price, uh, the different reasons that you're helping the consumers with, how you're convincing them, saying that it might be an expensive product, but it saves a lot of electricity, got beautiful designs, and those things are also part of marketing, or what you call 4Ps: the product, the places, the e-commerce channel, the price over there, and what are the card offers, discounts, etc., that one, or exchanges that one could get away with. And this is what the traditional marketing have been doing for such a long time. And when you look view from a very digital perspective, am I someone, just a data geek saying that I'm tracking only my CTRs, my conversions, what is my ACOS, or am I looking at what is the level of imagery, what am I conveying through my videos, what am I conveying through my descriptors, and where does my ad come in? It's an amalgamation of both. Uh, I, 10 years back, this probably wouldn't be true. It's only the creative way and how you can position your product would be much talked about. But today, both these skills matter a lot for one to become an extremely successful and an efficient marketing person. But you cannot learn all these things saying that on both the things cannot be learned parallelly. First, you will have to hone one particular skill, go through with it, attain a mastery over it over a period of time, then get into the second skill or the third skill, and then build your entire confidence to become a successful marketer.
It reminds me of the inverted T advice people give, right? Where you should kind of build a lot of specialization in one area, but you should parallelly also build uh, supplementary, complementary skills, which will actually give you like a rounded skill set. And I think today, all roles, in fact, are becoming more and more complex because the world's getting more and more complex. So I think you gave a fantastic, opinion. I think it needs you to have multiple things going on in my mind, and it is a strategic, business oriented, creative role today. Um, i want to ask you, when you made that jump from Cadbury to Cavan Care, right, where you were doing supply chain, then you ended up doing sales, and then you stayed become a senior brand manager. um, a lot of folks may think that, if I were to make a jump, I have to start from zero. I'll have to start as a junior marketing manager and then kind of, work my way up. But clearly that's not the case with you. So how is it that you were able to successfully transition and in fact convince a brand that, hey, I can kind of come as a senior person in marketing and actually lead a lot of fronts?
Right. See, designations do not matter a lot, uh, right? But what happens a lot of the times is that people are after designations. People are after saying that I should be called a director, I should be called a senior VP. Uh, they go after designations most of the times. It really does not mean anything. If you're a senior VP and you're not able to answer or even educate someone of the basic things, it's really not putting you in a very good light from that perspective. So designations happen on the way. uh, and it was more of an after effect than what you are intending to do. My intention was saying that I had challenges with respect to moving back to Bombay at that point in time. I wanted to spend some more time in Chennai because of things back in family. So I was restricted by geography at that point in time. When I realized what are my other options available, and I want to build a proper career in marketing, one of the options that came up was Kevin Care, and it's a case study in every college, right, with respect to what they did with the sachet revolution. And who better to learn marketing than someone like CKR over there. And hence it was a no brainer for someone with having saying that I want to be in Chennai for long, and Kevin Care was right there. And and what Kevin Care valued most was not saying that me as someone who has not done marketing, but what do I bring to the table? Uh, and they saw value in my business approach. When I say business approach, I was when you visualize a P&L statement for a category or for a particular division, I've done two different things. One is like I've done the revenue part of it. I've done the COGS part of it. So I have an understanding and until say a gross margin saying that revenue minus COGS is going to be my gross margin. So at least they were confident that this guy understands P&L at some level and has worked in two parts influencing the P&L. The second part of P&L, which is where your marketing costs, your promotion costs, and other things come into, is what he's seeking uh, earn experience in. And with the way I presented my case, saying that what how I can how I married my supply chain experience in excelling as a sales professional at that point in time, and how I will leverage my supply chain and sales into marketing was very intriguing for them. There are not many people who have had such diverse experience, and it was a unique thing for them to look at as well. And still, I was not someone who had the T being built at that point. It was still a single flat line at that point in time. I was just going through the motions of it, and they thought probably they can take a bet on me. You will have to create, any good thing that is happening comes at an opportunity cost, and there are certain opportunity risks that I was taking as well. But once I got into, I wouldn't categorize my experience at Kevin Care as someone who has done hardcore marketing, because I dilly dallied or dipped into every single thing that's possible, be it helping them set up the e-commerce division, training camps, uh, understanding what is performance marketing, how performance marketing worked on Amazon and Flipkart, how they had absolutely zero presence on these big platforms, and then how do you go list a product, what are product shots, what's a hero image, what how the message is being uh, convinced to the consumer, what are the descriptors, what are the benchmarks with respect to the category at that point. There's like myriad ways of things that I was working on at that point in time. If you would have asked me at that point, was I doing a senior brand manager's work, I would have been clueless, right? I was working on whatever was the organization's priority at that at that point in time. This was 2019, pre-COVID that we are talking about. E-commerce was still not. It was a percent or two for each of these big companies, but still not being there, still not disrupted by the Mamas and the Wow of the world at that point in time. So took my time understanding what the organization's priorities were, how I can contribute, and how I can learn, because I was learning much more things than what I was contributing to. But the organization viewed it very differently, saying that I was helping them set up the business on the whole and is able to contribute, saying so from say about 5-10 lakhs to about 4 crores in the first year or so. So this helped me in saying that, and once I built that confidence with the senior management over there, I was given the leeway to experiment with a few things. So worked on a lot of digital products. Again, when I said digital products, we're working on a concept of personalized shampoo saying that they will go through a questionnaire. Even before the bare anatomies of the world were present at that point in time, and again the entire experience came into saying we did a rough 300 odd people into a survey, saying that going through the motions. I built a website over there, then asked people to go through the motions of it and select what shampoo would suit them. And then when there was an algorithm that we devised based on their choices, and then I would run to the R&D center within Chennai, and then me and the couple of formulators of the shampoo division would make a shampoo, fill it in a bottle. They would do the filling part of it, then I would package it, then courier it. So I was doing every single point in time. I was running a mini startup within the organization at that point in time. So that's why I say that I wouldn't be, it would be wrong to call me of a senior brand manager or even a brand manager to that extent, but I owned the process of an entirety and I could experiment with it. Unfortunately, COVID hit and I couldn't launch the product at that point in time, but it gave me a gamut of skill sets. So, like, you're working on Shopify on an everyday basis, right? You're managing the backend, you're setting up a D2C website from the scratch. Yeah, even today, there are a lot of times, someone reaches out saying that post का renewal करना है, आपके पास OTP आएगा. So those things kind of gave me a very grounding understanding. In retrospect, it again makes a lot of sense. But at that point, I was very frustrated, saying that where is my career going? I'm doing like every single job, but I'm not making TVCs. I'm approving artworks. I'm checking, the dots and dashes in at the back of the pack. Is it legally compliant? I'm like, for any marketer, legal team is their worst enemy. Saying that anything goes wrong here and there, they're like artwork rejected. Now you like go back to the agency, sit with them, saying that I used to be 4 hours on call with the agency guy saying that acha ye dot is not right. Put it down. The address says something else. The MRP label should be here. The claim statement is not true. The imagery is ko thoda bright and karo. These are like crazy amount of things that no one said you have to do, but I owned up the process, saying that this is my baby. I got to do whatever is best in terms of saying that I should launch it. So that gave me a lot of grounding and helped me saying that okay, fine, I have gathered a lot of skill sets. And in one of interviews in IT Bombay, Kamal Hassan said that he was a rack picker. I realized what that statement really meant at that point in time. I was literally a rack picker picking up skill sets on the go. This helped me gain confidence, talk to a lot of people. I moved on to Imami at that point in time, and then led their entire performance marketing for both their personal care and healthcare divisions. Then I understood, okay, what is digital, what is e-commerce, how does the entire consumer journey flows. So I built my T at that point in time, right? It was a straight line for much of say 5 6 or say 8 years of my career, but I started building the T from there on, saying that then moved into Atomberg to lead their entire digital part of things, and been able to successfully be a brand that's been loved by a lot of folks out there.
Fantastic. I want to touch upon uh, the fact that you worked with premium brands and also mass market brands, right? What has that really taught you in terms of what's really the core differentiator when you're marketing something expensive versus something which is, for mass?
See, uh, at every single point in time, it's about the motivations that people are looking to mm, satisfy. Within, I'll take an example within chocolates, right? There is dairy milk and there is dairy milk silk. As a consumer, what do you think is the difference?
I think the communication and the price point only makes me feel like it's premium. The perceived value, I guess.
Yeah, but do you think is there any difference in the product?
Maybe not. Maybe not.
No, there is difference. There is a difference. Uh, Okay, again, why I understood that there is a difference, because I worked on molded chocolates from the factory standpoint. So I kind of understand what is the level of milk solids or milk fat that goes into, and what is the grinding level of the cocoa granules, the crumb granules that we call internally. Uh, the size of the particle in a silk is about 18 to 20 microns. The size of a particle in dairy milk is about 24 to 26 microns. At that point in time, now it would have changed, obviously. Um, and so there's a perceptible difference if you taste a dairy milk and a silk, because there's silk is more smooth, hence the name silk. And white dairy milk is a little on the rough, it's more nostalgic for a lot of us. What are the price points that these two are present? Dynamical is present from 5, 10, 20, if I'm not wrong, 40 and 100. Silk present starts at say 70 or 80, and the other variant is at about 160 or say close to 200. Uh, and and there is a difference in the product, but you and I as a normal consumers may not understand the difference in the product. But when what is the experience that is conveyed? It's a 60 rupees or a 80 rupees price point. This starts at 5 rupees, everyone can afford. If I have to feel elevated, feel great about myself, I will be buying silk, because I can signal it to the outside world and I can afford silk. It tastes great, although it has the same roasted almond, fruit, and nut. It didn't have crackle though, but yeah. The same roast almond, fruit, and nut was there in dairy milk also at that point, at about 45 rupees or 50 rupees price point. But the elevated experience of what the packaging, it was a vertical packaging, whereas these were horizontal. Right? You go to a modern trade store, you'll see silk in a vertical way, but dairy milk will be all horizontal, or it will be in boxes, right? So the look, feel from right from the packaging, from the product, conveys that I am a this particular product is premium. So as a salesperson, when I'm there in my within my store, the way my team would merchandise a dairy milk will be very different from silk. And silk obviously cannot be sold from the counter. It has to be within a fridge. It has to be temperature controlled, otherwise it gets spoiled. So all these things signal saying that okay, I'm giving you an elevated experience, right? But is there a basic difference in the product? Yes, there is. Again, the four P's come into play. The product is different. The packaging is different. The way where it is, the place is different, and this helps in signaling to the consumer, and the consumer is also convincing that whatever premium I'm paying, I'm getting that benefit out of it. At every single point in time, be it a consumer who buys a 5 rupees chocolate, they should be convinced that I got the worth for 5 rupees. I got the worth for 160 rupees for a silk Oreo. If that's not there, no one would you would never be able to crack the market. There obviously the consumer segments are different, but everyone the value or the satisfaction of gaining that value is the same for everyone. Will you when you are much younger, you'll be able to go through a say a 20-gram pack or a 40-gram pack all at once. But today as we have grown much older, we won't be able to do it. The second point is it's all about the diminishing returns, right? The more you have of something, the less you want the more of it. So that's also comes into place. Like then I'll have to understand the pack size. Someone may not go. So how are they going to store it? They're going to probably eat half of it and keep it in their fridge and then come back to it. So those things. But a dairy milk, the young kids would enjoy a lot more. So they are fine with say even a 6.5 gram or a 20-gram kind of thing, and do it in one go. So the kind of packaging that goes is extremely different. But the value one derives is what matters and in the end of it. And if they're satisfied, they're going to come back to you for more.
I want to ask you about digital channels, right? And you see a lot of companies, let's say like a Perfetti or a Britannia, spend very less on digital because their price point is only so little. And then on the other flip side, you've got luxury items which have like an experiential buyer journey, where you have to have stores, and all these digital first brands have sort of started opening their own stores also. So I wonder, what's the right strategy for me to know that if digital only is a good fit for my product? If you could kind of maybe share some examples would be good, because sometimes I wonder, if it is too mass, digital first may not be effective. If it is too luxury, it may not be effective. So what's really the right balance? And you've spent like several years in this category. I'd love your perspective there.
Right. Right about 2015-16, in our head office in Parel, I used to have this discussion. Why is the sales of eclairs going down? Right. And because eclairs was nothing but coinage, right? You buy something for 50 rupees or say 48 rupees, you give a 50 rupee note, you get one or two eclairs as change. But we were steadily saying that there was eclairs was going down, halls was going down. So what was literally happening? E-commerce was coming into play, right? People were there was one change that happened in 2008-9 when the modern trade stores started to come in, saying that the kiranas are reducing their share, modern trade stores are coming in. People may not buy it out of the jars. Then the coinage thing was adopted. And then now the coinage was not helping us because on e-commerce, people know that they are going to buy this. They wouldn't be impulsively motivated to, or there is no coinage associated. If it is like 449, you pay 449 from your credit card. Be done with it, right? So there was this thing that was gradually happening. 2016 and demo happens and digital payments take over. Now coinage is like serious threat. And like someone they do a Paytm or Google Pays at that point in time, and exact rupees. Even if you go smoke a cigarette, you pay the exact 11 rupees or 12 rupees kind of thing. So again, how do you make these things a little more relevant? It becomes very difficult for these categories to sustain for exactly what perfectly would have gone through at that point in time, right? Is there a solution to it? No. The only biggest solution that everyone has adopted to is having multi-packs, saying that having bigger bars, or say chupa chups coming in like a real huge kind of a form, or you're getting a pack of 10, a pack of 20. These are different things that the organizations were experimenting with. But digital doesn't mean that it is only sales, right? It's also invoking that sense of feeling, saying that I may have to, I can be pushed into consuming something. Um, for a lot of period, even if you go through your Instagram, your page, you scroll down, you'll see a lot of advertisements for categories which are sub 1,000 rupees, right? And your propensity to click on them and complete your journey will be much more for things that are sub 1,000 rupees, or say for 500 to 1,000 rupees, than something that is greater than say 5,000 rupees, right? And you wouldn't consider something that to buy immediately if it is less than 500 rupees also, because less than 500 rupees is now part of your Blinkit cart. Greater than 5,000 rupees, greater than 5,000 rupees is part of your. When you say high involvement category, what happens is that the frequency with which you are being exposed to that matters a lot. Whereas for again the less than 500 thing, the digital advertising has moved away from say an Instagram or a Facebook to be digitally advertised on Blinkit and September. So that's where the advertising, in terms of their content or in terms of what they mean to the business, has moved also. But for the greater than 5,000 or greater than 3,000 kind of a category, I'm bombarded multiple times saying that I will have to be involved in the journey for a much longer period. Today, here in Atomberg, we find from our D2C, Our average purchase time for a fan is about 7 to 10 days. For a mixer grinder, it's about 15 to 20 days. So, which means that how many days I will have to be on air for them to make a decision, because it's high involvement. They will start their search. When they search, they come onto a website, then the ads starts showing up on for them, right? And then I will be telling them the first set of messages, like I'm introducing the brand. The second set of messages, why this brand is better, what are the features that we have, how smart ecosystem plays a role in this, and things like that. What are the entire value that I'm giving to you for the kind of money that you're ready to part with. Then they go on Amazon, they go on Flipkart, they go through ratings, reviews, they check, what are the colors, sizes that's available. Uh, if there is an AR enabled thing, they see if the fan looks great on their ceiling at that point in time. They go through the reviews, see what are the critical things. If they are even more inquisitive, they'll go to the shop, see the product in physical, compare it with other competitor products, see how it is better, what is the feedback, is there more problems, it's a new brand, can I trust it. If still they have questions, they call up the customer care, because it's a journey that's going to take a lot of time, because it's not a repeat category,
Right.
right? So they are investing this money, say 3,500 rupees for a fan, it's going to be there for like 10, 15 years with them. So they need to make the right decision, and they'll also be sure return option hai kya, color can I change it. So those are the things that are the markers in the consumer's mind, which we'll have to, as marketers, preempt and say that I'll have to solve a lot of this digitally, but I'm not making a sale digitally, right? I'm ensuring that I'm not bothered if they are buying from my D2C or from Amazon, Flipkart, or from my retail store. But wherever they are willing to purchase it from, I should be present. That's my important KPI to hold, right? I'm well distributed, I'm on top of the mind for the consumer, and whenever they're ready to purchase, make a purchase, I'm giving every possible answers to their questions. I anticipate that questions, because a lot of things, we get a lot of emails, we talk to a lot of consumers, we understand where their fears are, what their triggers are, what their barriers are, and then try to solve it through digital communication. Coming to the mass side of things, right? Now, this opportunity does not arise because it's a very quick category, and it's an impulse buy at some point in time, and they will have to be present at the retail point, which is largely moved now to, say, the quick commerce kind of things. Their advertising should be much more sharper, saying that if you're the cohorts mean a lot, saying that who's a daily purchaser, who's a weekly purchaser, who's a top-up purchaser, who's purchasing only food, who's purchasing only say non-food or shampoo or things like that. Then you get in devise strategies to get into their basket. So that becomes, the digital media has shifted over there in terms of advertising. That's why you wouldn't probably feel not a lot of Britannia or Colgate or a perfect Evanwell or a necklace to that matter on Instagram or Facebook.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for kind of getting into so much depth and kind of breaking that up for us. I want to now touch upon premiumization, right? Everybody's talking about that. And, often I see brands or a lot of people thinking premiumization means get a fancy website, fancy branding, fancy packaging, and increase the cost by X percentage. But I truly believe what somebody like an Atomberg did is a great example of premiumization, where it's the entire product is rethought, and after the discussion today, even the consumer journey or the buyer journey has been kind of rethought, right? It's digital first, it's IoT, and it kind of just makes a lot of sense to me. And even I remember, like, I'm a sucker for IoT. I have my all my lights are on those hue lights, and this it's part of my checklist that I have to get a fan which I can control, through that. Now, one by one, I'm taking everything. So, just on premiumization, I wanted to kind of discuss that with you, because, as I said, a lot of people do it in a very, superficial way on how they approach premiumization today. And today, a lot of entrepreneurs and marketers are looking at a lot of consumer durables, or just generally, items you take for granted, and kind of coming up with new innovations there. So, what's the right approach to actually premiumize a particular product? And if you could share any consumer insights or any kind of thoughts you have, uh, generally, which can help anybody premiumize a category or a product, will be like really helpful.
Okay, I'll answer this question from the point of view saying that how do we think about premiumization? Or is premiumization was even a goal for us at that point in time, right? Uh, when Atomberg started, it had a differentiated proposition, right? Your electricity bills would be cut by 65%. And if you're buying this product within 2 to 3 years, you are getting the entire money back in terms of where you spent 3,000 rupees on the fan, 1,500 rupees is the electricity bill that you're going to save. Uh, and 2 years, the fan is free. That appealed to a value consumer. From a price point perspective, it was premium because the entire market was present at about 1,100, 1,200 rupees at that point in time, and more than 2x of the nearest competitor. It becomes very difficult to say that why would I pay that money to you, right? Then building on the motor part of it, building on the power saving part of it. The second aspect that we worked on was design. Fans has been a dominant category for eons, right? Since they were invented, uh, and it has been not a noticeable part of anyone's house. But the moment you walk into any house today which has an Atomberg fan, they talk about it. Not because it saves electricity, although that was the first point that we started, because it can be operated with a remote. Second thing is it looks way hatke, way beautiful than the fans generally in the market. Okay? So these two things naturally paved us a way into premiumization for us. When we started out our journey on Amazon, fans were selling at 1,000 rupees. We are the first fan to sell at 3,000 rupees price point. And today we are still, our starting range is about 2,600 rupees. But most of the competition's highest range is about 25, 2,600 rupees. So we didn't play the premiumization probably the way it should have been played, the way it has been played all over the years. We played from a value perspective. We say that irrespective of how much money you're ready to spend, you have fans at every level. At 3,000 rupees, you get a very good looking fan which operates on remote, and 2 years the fan becomes free. Go to 4,000 rupees, you get IoT feature. What is special about IoT features? It can be operated with your mobile phone. You can switch on, switch off from anywhere. You can club it with the other devices at your home. You can operate it through an Alexa, etc. Go to 5,000 rupees, you get premium finish, easy to clean, better designs, and more swankier designs than what you find at 3,000 rupees. Go to 7,000 rupees, you have ABS blade, silent fans with underlight, and things like that. So you build that portfolio in such a way that at every level, first is like you convert the 1,000 rupee customer into 3,000 with the value proposition, and then you build the portfolio in such a way that they're ready to spend more because they feel that the value comes out of it. So value becomes a central concept for us, and we have approached value with like two, three different ways. And premiumization has been a byproduct for us in that way. The intention was not to premiumize things. The intention was to add value, but people found that value, and today we are a decently recognizable brand because of that. Uh,
Incredible.
yeah, answering your question with respect to what other brands have thought about premiumization. If I can take an example from a FMCG journey, any product, the formulation cost is a pittance. The packaging cost is probably like 25, 30% of the entire
Yeah.
cost of making that good. So if you take a shampoo bottle, so if a shampoo bottle costs 200 rupees, so the roughly it's about 70 rupees to make that product. 35 rupees will be the bottle ka cost. 2 or 3 rupees will be the shampoo cost. Hence, companies like Kevin Care were able to revolutionize with the packaging, right? The sachet packaging made a lot of sense at that point in time. So a lot of premiumization is conveyed through packaging, through stories, more than the value of what's there inside. So hence it becomes a struggle if you're going this route, saying that it becomes a lot more difficult to sustain the story over a period of time if people are not deriving value. If I am deriving value by keeping a Bath and Body Works in my washroom and someone visits my place and using my washroom and saying, Acha, ये तो Bath and Body Works use कर रहा है, must be like really top class guy. If that is my intention, it works. If my intention is not that, and saying that I'm getting if I'm delivering value in some other place, saying that my electricity bill is cut by half, it serves a purpose for that particular consumer. So whoever is the consumer, at the end of it, values are different with their outlook. So according to that, it is built by brands, and packaging is one route, money saving is another route. The way it makes you feel is the third route. Yeah.
Very interesting. I think those three buckets, I think, makes it very clear on the various approaches you have. Like, I think I didn't think it from the point of view that okay, sometimes you have to kind of increase the delta of customer experience, and every delta increase maybe 50 rupees more or 500 rupees more or one more zero. That's a very interesting outlook because it's the latter, the last part you mentioned, which a lot of people think, create a cloud, create brand value, increase friction to purchase. But I think there's a lot you can do to actually increase your daily objects today and make them more useful. And then that's why I charge a premium.
Yeah.
Um, I want to now just quickly get a perspective on IoT generally. IoT is something which I remember I hear before AR, VR, AI, crypto, blockchain, and all those things which have been fads, right? It's been there quite a lot, and I think maybe it's integrated pretty well into some of our products. But do you still feel that, or rather, what is your outlook towards IoT today? Especially in a market like India, do you feel that that's a space which is still extremely untapped? And like you did it with fans, there are a lot more opportunities today for companies to integrate IoT and, in fact, make that as the core differentiator.
IoT is definitely under leveraged, or it's not tapped at all. Even untapped would be a certain percentage of the market. It's even below untapped as we speak. There are very few devices that are IoT enabled. Does it solve a consumer problem? We need to start with that. Uh, for consumers who think they are tech savvy, who think mm, their lives are made a lot easier by controlling a lot of their devices with their phones, it definitely solves a big problem. For people who are forgetful, for people who have 100 and other things to take care of and don't have to worry about whether they have switched off their fan, they have ordered their groceries, whether their light switch on as soon as someone elder gets into their washroom in the night, solves a lot of problem. Uh, but is it something that what our masses need right now? Maybe not. But as and when we technology kind of surprises us over a period of time, something becomes fad, something sticks on. For example, mobiles stuck to people, right? Phablets is nowhere to be seen, right? There was an iPad kind of a range. There was a mobile kind of a range, but people thought phablets would solve the problem, which has an intersection of both, but it didn't survive, right? So from that perspective, IoT is solving that particular problem for a specific small set of people today. But what we are trying to build here at Atomberg is to make that differentiation in people's lives so that technology becomes or makes things easier for them. so that they can carry on with their lives as usual. Nothing changes, no challenges with respect to, and it is by their side. A good design is something that you don't notice, right? A good technology should also be like a good design that you don't notice, but the absence is felt, right?
Fantastic.
That's what we are trying to build here. We have disrupted the fans. Our IoT journey in fans is still a very long journey, uh, but what we have seen is different channels have different IoT adapts, right? For example, in our offline channel, our IoT device, IoT fans, sells about say 10% of our overall portfolio. When I look at Amazon, it's double that. Why would you think so?
I don't want to give bad guesses.
Very simple, Alexa,
Ah, right.
right? Amazon purchasers, Amazon shoppers generally tend to have Alexa at their home.
True.
So makes life difficult. Alexa, switch on the fan. Done.
Right.
Right? Makes life easier for them. They don't have to get up, switch on the fan, or use a remote. I mean, even remote is becoming the second level of I know discomfort
Correct.
nowadays. Just a voice command would do. Um, at my home, what happens is that we have one remote, and my wife likes to have the temperature much lower. But then at night, I cannot keep searching for the remote. I would just swipe up my phone and say, like, I'll reduce the fan speed so that the temperature is maintained. So those kind of things are certain level of use cases that you can see over things. But what we are trying to see is that probably this is a very limited use case. There are
Mm.
very few people. The market has to grow, but when the market is ready, uh, we are also ready with our products. So today we are doing a lot of integrations with standalone IoT uh, developers,
Yeah.
IoT systems, so that our product can be easily, integrated into their system. And whichever category that we are getting into, tech becomes the strong point of differentiation, and IoT would follow into it. So we might be known as a fans company today, but what's happening in our innovation center is much more larger than what we are seeing here. It's a tech company that's growing in Pune and Mumbai rather than a consumer durables company.
Incredible. I think that positioning is pretty exciting. I feel that that's really the next consumer goods 3.0, or however you want to, whatever point you want to call it, which is I think pretty exciting. So I think we're almost at time, Tibu. I just wanted to kind of jump to the last question. You've gone ahead and I think given some fantastic advice to many people. But if you could, as a parting thought, give a final advice to I think any young marketer who wants to become a marketing leader in an organization, what's some top level advice you'd like to give them?
Marketing leader, right? I think it's becoming more irrelevant. I think it's more from business leader is what you should look at shaping yourself. You need to have the breadth of things to move around, because the way things are moving in the outside world with Gen AI catching up with everything that's possible, you got to be one step ahead. You got to have those skill sets uh, which you enjoy doing and which is employable, in a way, an ikigai for when someone would like to pay you as well, right? So from that perspective, whatever you do, you got to get your hands dirty. There'll be times it'll be testing, it'll be frustrating, going over the artwork for the 20th time, but it's worth in retrospect. Today, that level of detailing that you look in every copy, in every creative, is because the amount of time you spend with your artworks. And there is no shortcut to it, unfortunately. You will have to go through the motions. You will have to go through with that frustration, the irritation of reading every single line multiple times to get it uh, right. So if I have to condense it, you will have to do things with your hands, because if you don't do it, you don't know what to look for when you're training people at a later stage in your career. And you need to understand from a marketing person standpoint, you need to understand different perspectives. You need to understand your consumer perspective. You need to understand your sales team's perspective. You need to understand your distributors, retailers, your factory workers' perspective. Because at the end of it, you hold the P&L together. You deliver the revenue, you deliver the profits. So you need to understand what are your different levers and work hands-on in each of those levers for you to be a successful professional on the whole, rather than just myopically looking at marketing as a career. If you ask me if I'm a marketer, I'm definitely not a marketer. And one such thing I picked up from Leonardo da Vinci's biography is that he never viewed himself as an artist. He was an engineer. He was an aeronautics designer. Uh, but if you were to ask him, is he a artist? Today he's known as a great artist, right? But he never viewed himself as one such. He moved into different realms seamlessly. So one should put uh, oneself in that kind of a position where you're able to understand different perspective, able to move across things very seamlessly, and that comes with a lot of painful drudgery, hard work with your own hands.
Fantastic. I think what a great note to end the podcast on. Thank you so much, Deepu. I had an incredible time. I think I learned quite a few things about many areas. So thanks for that. I hope you had fun.
Thank you, Kavan, and all your questions were very wise, very thoughtful, and thank you. I had a great time answering your questions.
Thank you for giving me your time, and for everybody who's stuck along, thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to hear another marketing leader soon, or a business leader soon, do tune in to our next podcast. Do like, share, and subscribe, and thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.